Happy July 4th, everybody. In the spirit of America's Independence Day, we are going to be drawing a bald eagle, America's national bird, in 5 different art styles: Mario, Sonic, Bluey, Pokemon, and Disney. Let's jump in. Then our first bald eagle is going to be a Mario style bald eagle. Start with a circle very lightly. Look how lightly I'm drawing. It's almost like tickling the paper. The pencil is just hardly touching it. You don't want to press too hard. That can be hard to learn, though. If you're used to holding it really far down on your pencil like this and pressing hard, that's going to make it harder to erase if you're pressing hard. So we like to start to learn. It takes lots of practice for some of you, but you'll get it over time. Learn to hold your pencil maybe a little higher. Loosen your grip a little bit instead of squeezing. And sketch a circle. Your circle might not be this smooth, and that's perfectly fine. Your circle might be smoother than mine. That's great too. It doesn't really matter, especially at this point when we're just sketching. This is going to be the bald eagle's head. Let's go ahead and add bald eagle's neck. Yours doesn't need to look just like mine. Just use it as a guide and do the best you can. Follow along and then, make your own little changes here and there. But you'll see we've got lots of things that are going to look very Mario style for this type of character. It could be like maybe a boss that Mario's got to defeat. Let's use this eraser. And erase that line there. We can erase some of this line there too. In fact, let's erase all of it. He's going to be looking this direction. So let's go ahead and draw the beak, pointed in that direction. Give him a big beak, big cartoony beak. And bring the bottom in to the head, not down here in the neck. And then give a little lower beak like this, and we're going to curve this up and around. And see, we build our characters from shapes, adding basic shape on top of basic shape on top of basic shape. And so that means they're going to overlap, and we're going to want to erase the things that are covered up. So like that side of the head is now covered up by the beak. So we want to be sure we erase that. Fix my oval a little bit. Now let's add another oval over here. And then he's going to be giving us a little side eye, especially if he's a Mario boss or something. Now I'm going to take this pupil. We're going to make it look like he's looking at us. I'm going to turn this pupil close to the edge, and then this pupil will come like this in the middle. And let's color him in. So it looks like he's looking at us. Feel free to add any other details if you want. You could customize it, make it your own. You could add a few feathers up here if you like. But don't do it too detailed if we want to make it look Mario style, because they're pretty simple, cartoony looking characters. All right, later we can ink and color these if you'd like, or you could shade them, or you could add bodies. We're just going to focus on the heads. So, Mario style, done. Now I'm going to move next to my Sonic style. Now I'm not going to give them bodies, but if you want to, then you might want to space them out so you got plenty of room for the bodies. You could even do backgrounds, whatever you like. You could draw all of these. You could draw your favorite. Up to you. Make this your own. That's what's most important about my lessons. Now I'm going to do Sonic style. Very similar in some ways. Heads are bigger in Sonic style characters, so we want a bigger circle. Takes me a few attempts. Look how I'm just adjusting my lines. See, I don't have to stop and erase every line I make. if it's too small or it's not smooth enough. Instead of just once you get it down where you're drawing lightly, you just adjust it. It's a little bit quicker. So there's a big circle. Draw yours. Remember to pause this video if you need to. Go at your own pace. Or fast forward it, or change the playback speed. The bottom right, you could click that little gear button, speed it up to make it faster, or slow it down to make it slower. Now let's go ahead and add the beak. We're going to add the beak first here. And before we do that, let's do this little guideline. This character is also looking to the left. This little guideline is very light. It's going to be erased, but it shows us the direction that he's looking. So now, let's go ahead and right in the middle of our circle, touching this guideline, we're going to do the beak. And this one's going to have a little more curve to it. And curve it up like that. And then let's do it like this. Curve that up and curve this down until they meet. I think it's going to look better if that mouth doesn't quite touch the edge. And lots of lines to erase in here to clear up this beak. Now remember, if you color these, especially if you give them a body, the bodies of a bald eagle are brown. And the heads are white. That's why they're called bald eagles. Now what's key for Sonic style characters is the eyes. They have almost like figure 8 or the number 8 eyes. Almost looks like a number 8 turned on its side. Or a curvy M if it's not turned on its side. So curve up and then down and then up and then back to the beak. And this guy can look like a bad guy. Maybe he's a Sonic boss too. Some of these we could do as nice eagles. You can make this one a nice one if you want. I'm just going to add some little indentions above. Some extra little curves like the brow right here. On top of this one and on top of this one. Erase the inside of the eyes so it's white. Let's give him some pupils. This one's going to be smaller because it's further away. This one's going to be bigger because it's closer to us. I leave a little highlight in there, which is a little tiny white circle and color around it. Then we're going to add not quite the size of Sonic's spikes, but we're going to add some spikes to him, which are his feathers. I might make them bigger. You can make them however you want. I draw it lightly first, so then I can see which spikes I like the most, and those are the ones I'll keep and the ones I'll ink. Sometimes I just have to put it on the page and then see how it looks and decide if I like it or not. All right, and then let's do a neck. Yeah, I like that. Now, when I've connected these different parts, then I'll erase the lines I don't need anymore. We do want the feathers to connect to his head, so we want to erase the line that made them look like they were separate. The edge of the head, the old circle line. And any of those old feathers you don't want, you could erase those. And I think I'll keep the line for this now, actually. I like it. Sort of looks like the head is sticking out more. Over here, I erased it. Maybe I'll add a little indentation here. It's sticking out a little bit, but some of that line is erased. And here, I'll just keep it. Now, we could also add nostrils if we wanted. For bald eagles, their nostrils are up here near their eyes. I'm going to do a little nostril like that. You could do one here or you could leave it off. I'm not going to put one here. I'm going to keep Mario's style simpler. There's our Sonic style. Bald eagle. Now, let's do our Bluey style bald eagle. We'll do Bluey right here in the middle. Bluey style. Sonic style. For Bluey, you know what shape we're going to do? Big rectangular shape. Not quite pointy, so I'm rounding the corners. And then feathers at the bottom. The eyes are big ovals. Oh, I should have left room for the eyebrows. So let's put those up here. Before I do the other eye, I'm going to go ahead and put the beak in here. It's just right up from the bottom of this eye, right next to it. And we're going to make it look really Bluey style. This will be our friendly one. And don't want that line to touch the eye. We want it to stop short. And so erase it so that this line here doesn't touch the eye. Now we've got the beak covering up part of the head, so erase that line from the head. Make these eyes a little tiny bit bigger. Put another eye over here. Bluey has these big oval eyes. Erase any lines that are inside the eyes. Big black pupils. And I'm going to straighten this a little more if you can. And put a little, like a cheek up there. There's my Bluey style bald eagle. I'm going to add a few feathers back here. Erase the edges so it looks like they're all connected. And there we go. Oh, forgot an eyebrow. So we're going to want one over here. Bluey style. Now, technically, bald eagles' heads are white, but you can do whatever color you like. Now, let's do anime style. Then we'll do Disney style. Anime style might be the most detailed, but first, we'll start pretty easy. Move a little bit in from the left so you have room for the beak. And do a big U shape, like the upside down U shape like this. Very lightly. And then let's put this line very lightly, just like we did up here with Sonic. Show where the center of his head is when it's turned. And then everything's going to be a little more, some sharper edges. I'm just going to show a little more action, a little more energy, a little more intensity. So instead of so smooth, look at how his beak is really curved a lot. Pointed, I mean. And I'm going to curve that up more to a triangle up top. And erase everything inside that beak. The beak, I think you know how to draw beaks by now, right? After doing it a few times, it doesn't need to look just like mine. Just make sure you got some more points to it. In fact, I might add another point here and like curve the beak backwards. Okay. Now, you get more detail in anime style compared to these styles. So we're going to add some more detail at the end. So we're still sketching very lightly here until our, detail stage, our final drawing stage. Now, let's go in like this and then out, do some feathers, sort of spiky feathers. We don't really see that eye on the other side, but we will see this one. And we're going to do an anime style eye. Well, there's many different anime styles, but one of them uses, it's almost like trapezoids. Which are this kind of shape instead of this shape or circles and ovals like we've used previously for these cartoon characters. Instead, get a shape more like that. And then there's lots of different pupil and iris styles for anime eyes, so you can really turn that into what you want. Now, I'm going to add a little shading around the eye. And as I get further away from the eye, I'm loosening the grip and pressing lighter so that the shading sort of fades away. So it's dark around the eye, but then it sort of fades out. Now, we're going to add some spikes around the rest of this eagle's face and head. You do them bigger or smaller. Usually a mix of big, medium, and small feathers looks good. So I try not to make every feather the same size. And then here what's happening is these are going in. And it's sort of like around the cheeks. Now, what'll make this look really cool is if we get the beak a little more realistic looking, adding some more detail here. So I'm going to add a little slanted line there and then immediately come down. This is really short. Immediately come down and then go up right above where his mouth curves. And eagles have this little texture there, like a little indention almost in their beak. And then we see one nostril just right on that edge. If you don't have room to put that in, that's okay. It's just a little dash. And then another one right here. And then this one, once you've added those feathers, be sure to erase that old headline so it looks like it's actually all connected. And this is a piece that you could color or just keep in pencil shading however you like, or do both. But so if you want to shade or not, it's up to you, but very lightly with your pencil and go slow, especially if you're new at shading. And we'll discuss shading a little more in our upcoming classes. But some very light lines here. Add some more feathers down there. And the shading lines usually want lighter than the outline. All right, anime style bald eagle. Now, let's move his neck in a little bit. Let's curve it a little bit. I think that'll look better. Yeah. Curve that. All right. Now let's do our Disney style. This is in the style of maybe Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mouse Club, some of those characters. So for that one, we'll draw it over here. This will be anime style. And for Disney style, over here, we're going to go with an oval. And add that curve just like we did for Sonic and anime style. And then I'm going to add a curve here on the neck. See how you add a curve and then it smoothly flows into that oval. Same thing here. And this beak's going to be a little skinnier and it's going to have a lot of goofy looking curves to it. And I'm going to do the beak's going to come way out here. And the center of this beak needs to touch that line that you did, the guideline down the middle. Curve it around. I'm going to erase the inside of the beak now. Although sometimes I don't do the erasing until after I've inked it and before I color. So it's up to you if you keep it there. Little dot for that nostril. Big oval eyes up to the top of the head on both sides. Pupil, long and dark and black, sort of like these. This one touches the edge. This one's more in the middle, but close to the edge. Leave a little bit of space there. It's long and black. Now, if we want to go, before you shade, or even if you did, you can erase. We can go back to the old Mickey Mouse cartoons from the 1930s and do what's the video game and the show Cuphead made famous today. And we can do Cuphead style, or really that style is old Mickey Mouse style. And what I love that method because, let me get this other eraser that's a little smaller, because what it does is it actually cuts out a little triangle from the pupil. And this could be something that you try. Now, it looks really weird if you just do it on one. But when you do it on both, it looks really cool. This could be something you try on another one too, if you like. And I like a lot of my characters to have eyes that are this style. You want them even, though. So let me try this again. There you go. And then it looks really good once you go over it with a marker or a Sharpie or an ink pen. some black ink. It'll look really nice. Try to get those triangles the same. Same size. All right, now these little brows. Donald Duck has a lot of these. A lot of the Disney characters do above. They just wrap around the eyebrows there. The head comes out back here. A few feathers. And then don't want them looking like a flamingo, so don't make that neck too long. And then some feathers down there. And there is our bald eagle in 5 different styles. Now what I want you to do is to color, ink, or go over them with a black marker or outline if you want, or add shading if it's in pencil, or whatever details, bodies, other little things you can add to make it truly your own. I'm going to ink and color mine. Do your inking and coloring on your own. Don't worry about making it look like mine. And share it with us so we could see. I'd love to see what you made, and I'd also love to know which one's your favorite. Out of all these, which one's your favorite? I'm really liking the Bluey style, and I thought that might be my least favorite in the end. That's actually looking like one of my favorites. Feel free to make any changes you want. I might play around with some of these even now. Let's see. Sometimes I look at my work afterwards and think, would it look better if I change this? What if I smooth this neck out? Yes, that looks better, for example. What if I... Actually, I think that looks pretty cool. I think I'm going to leave anime. All right, so feel free to make any changes you want here. Add coloring, shading. If you're doing white and you want to add colors, a little tiny bit of gray, shadows along the edges. Very, very light gray. Or very, very, very light blue. Usually looks really good for some shadows on things that are white. As long as it's a really light color. It could be marker, color pencil, crayons, whatever you want. You can fast forward to see some ideas about how mine looks, but don't worry about making it look just like mine. Make it your own. Can't wait to see which one is your favorite and how yours turned out. Thanks for joining me.